Greetings, everyone. We are plugging right along here on Giving Tuesday, and we are so grateful for everyone who's donated so far. My name is Maureen Bittner. I'm HEAV's Director of Publications and Marketing, and I'm here with two special guests from our convention team. Before I introduce them, though, I want to give a shout out to you for all that you've done today. Right now, I don't have a drum roll, but if I did, I would do it. Giving Tuesday donations are right at 18,510, which is a little bit more than 45% of our overall goal. That is so awesome. And we are so grateful for that. Thank you. Right now we are coming up on, actually we're in the middle of a double match challenge, which if you've watched any of the other videos today or saw our posts, you know generous donors have given matching funds so that the donations that you give within the next 30 minutes between now and 3:30 will be matched, whether it's $25 or $2,500. It will be matched dollar for dollar as long as those matching funds hold out. So please, if you're able to, support HEAV today. You may have seen other presentations today that have illustrated so many of the things that HEAV does for homeschooling in Virginia. But right now, we're going to focus on the convention. It's always at the top of everyone's mind. And I have with us two people, Don and Rachel Acker and their family. They're our speaker coordinators, and they are pivotal in making that event happen. Welcome, Don and Rachel.
Thanks, Maureen.
What do you have with you today?
We have our kids, our four children, Charles, Annabelle, Cameron, and Emma. And
representing grades from 6th grade, broke into the middle school this first year for middle school for us, and all the way down to 1st grade. So understand the life juggling with multiples and trying to figure out how to make homeschooling work. And that's what drew us to HEAV. And we're excited to be here with you.
And we're glad you are. And you not only do that, you do it while you're being speaker coordinators, which to me is amazing. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Nope, we really appreciate it because there's a lot of disruption that goes into volunteering with HEAV, and they are troopers. In fact, our youngest one had her birthday at convention last year, and it was a long day for her.
But it was good.
So.
Were you able to make it special for her, I hope?
Yeah. And the children's program is fantastic that they participated in. They just love all the work that goes into the children's program, and they always want to go back. So
cool. Well, I have questions, but you're probably going to answer them in this. I just want to hear a little bit about your family and your homeschool journey.
Sure. So we got into homeschooling because I was homeschooled all except a few years. My dad was active duty Navy, and he did 30 years. We moved all around the world, and then also and that's why my folks wanted the stability with the military lifestyle. It can be very challenging. My mom grew up in a military family as well with the Army, and she found that she was ahead sometimes, behind different times, and then after she graduated even high school, she found that she had gaps because there were just topics that didn't line up because of the different school systems. So it was really important for her back in the 80s to say that even though it was challenging, very different landscape what it is today, and that's why we can really appreciate some of the things that HEAV does. But that's kind of what was foundational in saying that I really wanted us to homeschool. And this was a conversation we had before we had children. So.
I thought I had time to convince them otherwise. So, we started having our kids, and I was a teacher before, and then we had our kids and started doing preschool with our kids, and then just loving that. And so it was a natural progression right into kindergarten and beyond.
That is awesome. So Don is 2nd-gen homeschooler, but you are not. That's exciting. We've had some videos up today of 2nd-generation homeschoolers, and it's exciting to see what happens after. We're so focused on the here and now as we're homeschooling ourselves to see look, you grow up and have families and real jobs and everything else. So that's awesome. Tell us how you became acquainted with HEAV.
So my mom, like I said, was a homeschooling mom, and her home state was Kansas, and that's where she was. I attend as often as possible to the convention out there, so I knew already about the conventions, and so we just looked up to see if Virginia had one, and we were really happy that they did. And there was a time that we were going and looking for answers. It's kind of how we found HEAV, and it was through the convention side of things.
Okay. Okay. So how has HEAV affected you or helped you on that journey? I mean, specifically.
Yeah, so we were overseas. Don is military, so we were overseas, and that's when we did most of our homeschooling. So when we moved back to the States in 2020, I didn't know how to homeschool legally in the US. So being able to look at HEAV's website and call the office with my questions, and the ladies there are just wonderful and kind and knowledgeable. And they were able to help me navigate how to get my NOI in and all of those requirements.
And then the convention.
And then we were facing some issues in our own homeschool. One of our children is twice exceptional, and we were really struggling with how to meet his needs. And so we said, let's go to the convention, and we did. And we were able to meet a lot of professionals and get the answers that we needed to help support that student.
And maybe shed a few tears.
And maybe shed a lot of tears, ugly crying, Yeah. And it was really refreshing. And we all came back at each break. We all came back to each other, so excited about what we had learned. And the kids were so excited about the children's program that they were participating in. And we all were just, overflowing with just how amazing it was, that all the things that we were experiencing. And we said, we want to be a part of this.
And so while I was there, being military, I know that normally I have a very short amount of time in a spot. So I wanted to see what was that we could contribute back to the convention. And I asked about volunteering, and they said, yes, they're always looking for volunteers, and they were going to send out an email later. And so I told Rachel, hey, they're going to send out looking for volunteers. And she's like, okay. And then we got so when the email came out, I said, hey, look, the email came out that they said there was going to. And so I responded back that we would be interested in finding out about volunteering.
Right. I thought we'd be setting up chairs.
No.
We're really excited to be a part of the convention team. It's amazing. So.
HEAV, I just have to give a plug here. We've been so blessed. Our convention director spots people. We need people to set up tables too, all of that, but she can spot people and see their talents. And you guys have been amazing as our speaker coordinators. One of the things I wanted to say, it's funny you mentioned you came to us because you were looking for legal information or legislative information. I'm not legal, we're not lawyers, but to be able to find out how to homeschool legally, and then come to the convention, because when I ask people, what do you know about HEAV? They know about our legislative work, and they know about the convention. So that's kind of cool. So are you guys going to give us any convention news later? Can I at least ask that? Maybe?
We can probably give a little bit. We are so excited. And we were so disappointed when the kickoff got pushed down. And so we're still waiting to hear the final date so that we can get on there and be a part of the kickoff and hear and to see some of the hard work that goes behind the scenes to finally be revealed and to be able to share with our friends and family. And people are always asking, so who's coming? And we're like, oh, sorry, we can't tell you yet, but we will let you know when the kickoff is, so then we can let you know.
It will be coming soon. We're hoping for next week, and by tomorrow we should be able to give a final date on that. So right. That is good. But you can give us some behind the scenes stuff. I guess this question you get asked a lot. We always do. How do you pick the speakers?
Go ahead.
So we have a speaker committee, a group of people who meet every week, and to be a speaker, it's by invitation only. And so we are able to evaluate different speakers and invite in speakers who will support the theme of our convention as well as meet the needs of our homeschool families.
And so because we don't want the convention to look the exact same from year to year to year, we take a lot of time to consider what speakers we're going to invite back, because every year we have such amazing teams of people from all over, all sorts of different skill set, but trying to make sure that we keep inviting familiar faces as well as introducing new talent and addressing current issues. And there's so many different issues that parents are looking for, how to navigate our society. And we really take a lot of consideration on who brings expertise to those issues.
And we've had amazing speakers. Well, you're going to leak one of them, at least one later, right? I just want to step in here and thank everyone who has donated. I can't pull up the names, but right now, every dollar you give is matched doubly for HEAV. So please, if you can, donate today, and thank you for those who are giving. So back to the speaker thing. I'm going to get something out of you. What is your favorite part about speaking, being the position, being speaker coordinators?
We really love meeting all these different speakers and hearing their heart for families and supporting families, whether it's in their homeschool or in strengthening relationships. All sorts of amazing, incredible professionals, and with just so much information and tools to share. And it's super exciting to connect those resources and meet them and work with them.
And then I would say that one of those things that we didn't expect going in, we knew that we were going to be working with a fabulous team from HEAV, meeting fabulous people from the speakers and being able to listen and soak in a lot of their wisdom. Something that we didn't realize that was going to be a blessing to our family is just that our strength of relationship is grown through here. And because so often when you're outside the home, you don't interact in a more of a professional setting. And this has been fabulous to be able to think and discover each other's strengths. Sometimes it adds a little frustration to our lives because we think very differently, but we've been able to explore that and be able to come to rely on each other's strengths, which has been fantastic for us.
That's so interesting that you say that, because people forget, we focus on the academics. It's like we have a child with a need or trying to teach them math and science, and they don't want to do that. But really, homeschooling is so about the relationships, not just with our kids, but with each other.
Right.
That's amazing that HEAV and your work with HEAV has helped facilitate that. Kind of leads me into my last question is, second-gen homeschoolers, you're obviously experienced homeschoolers. What advice do you have for someone who is new? That we have so many people coming on that really didn't see themselves as homeschoolers at the beginning, or maybe they've started homeschooling and still don't think of themselves as homeschoolers. They are meeting a need with their child and just kind of stepped up to do what they think is best for them. What advice do you have for someone in that position?
Some of the best advice that we've been given is to use your curriculum as a tool and to relax. So, if you don't check all the boxes in a day, that's all right. Give yourself permission to explore the learning opportunities with your child, build those relationships with your child, like you said, and not spend so much time frustrated about getting your curriculum done that you miss out on the whole reason why you're homeschooling and building that strong family relationship.
And that's probably some of the easiest advice and some of the hardest to take, especially with you're always trying to make sure that you're going to be able to meet the expectation of other schooling systems. And you don't want to look like you're falling behind or not equipping them. And there's a really strong pressure on, especially moms. I know my mom experienced it. I know Rachel experiences, and it's really, really hard to be able to just relax and say, there is something that I am imparting between the academics that is almost far more important than the academics themselves, because reading sometimes takes a while. Sometimes math just doesn't click. And the nice thing is that we don't have to say that you have to be at a certain point. We try to match whatever the current standards are. But in the same sense, we're able to look at children and say that they are uniquely made and that we can tailor our education to them. And I think that's my favorite part about homeschooling is that relationship, and then giving them their strengths to be uniquely them, to shore up weaknesses where they have to have certain skills, but to be able to say that I love you enough to come up with a way to show you that with our education, as well as in a family environment.
That is so true. And it's funny you mentioned your mom having the same issues. Social media wasn't a thing back in the 80s and 90s. And yet homeschool parents still felt that same pressure back then. I can vouch for that. So it doesn't, social media, I think, has to have made it harder sometimes because you see, these Instagram worthy photos of the kids happy and smiling around the kitchen table. and ours was never like that.
Well,
upside down.
I never took the picture of us like pulling our hair out saying, just write one more letter on the paper, so.
Yep. I think it's important to know that it's not always perfect, but
right. And then even during COVID, it threw a whole nother one. I was at a point that I was home more often. I was working from home, and it, as great as that is, it also has a lot of interesting things. Like I have meetings and things like that to do professionally, and they have school that they're doing, and school is not always quiet, like, and trying to figure out what that was. And it was for couple years really difficult for us to figure out that navigation, and only looking back, am I as well as I was because of how supportive Rachel was, and being able to later tell me how frustrating and things like that was. That sometimes when you're in your professional mindset, it's harder to see you see the benefit, but you don't also see the flip side of how disruptive it can be just in the natural flow. Where people do school and how they do it. So COVID was interesting in so many different ways, and even the remote work is so much more common that there are parents we've known that do both homeschooling and remote work and juggling those things, which has given parents that might not have had the opportunity to homeschool to be able to say, hey, we can do this. It just might look a little different now. So I think there's been some great things that have come out of that time period as well.
That is true. But that's one good thing that has come out of COVID is, I think Ann said this morning, homeschoolers in Virginia are now almost 60,000. And Yvonne mentioned there were a couple of districts that hadn't even reported yet. So that's really a blessing. I do want to tell people we have just a few more minutes. Yes. 10 more minutes on the double match challenge. So if you are able, please give to HEAV. Right now, everything is going to be doubled up to, we have matching funds of $16,727. So everything that's given today up until that amount will be doubled. So please take care to do that. And now, I got to tell you, the convention director is watching. I put that up there. But you can leak some information about the convention, right?
Right. So I know our children's, I have cousins that went through homeschool as well. And one of their favorites was Andrew Pudwa, and a familiar friend to HEAV, and he will be back again. So we're so excited to be welcoming him back. So there's one familiar face that we know and all cherish. So
I am thrilled that he's back. All of my kids used IEW, and I have 2 kids that love to write, 2 kids that hated it, but they all write well. And one of them had to do the advanced writing classes in college and blames IEW for that because she hates to write, but just does it. Another
Yes. So maybe some new faces to HEAV this year would be Peggy Ployhar from Sped Homeschool and Abraham Hamilton III from the Hamilton Corner.
And that's his first time. He's never been to the convention before, has he?
No, he hasn't.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
So, yes, we are really excited to have him come, and we know it's going to be pretty phenomenal.
No, and it's been fantastic just to be able to have that interaction with Abraham, and he's super excited to be able to come with his family, and they're all going to make the trip. So we're excited to meet him and his family at convention.
Yeah, we all can't wait for that, and we should be having the official kickoff. So we'll hear about keynotes and things like that coming up. I know you're not going to leak that to me, so. Go. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
This is fun. Again, I want to encourage anyone who is able to do that, please give to HEAV. It supports not just the convention, believe it or not. A lot goes into keeping the prices as low as possible, but it supports us being here, being able to talk to you. It supports the Facebook pages, the website, all of the information, all the government affairs work. It relies on your donation, so please consider giving to HEAV today. And thank you, Don and Rachel, for being here.
Thanks, Maureen.
I did want to one little plug that even if you are not a homeschool family that and you are Christian, that they also will help protect your education and our freedoms, because it's one of those things that once government starts to push homeschool, then there's another avenue, and you don't have to be a homeschooler to come out and enjoy the convention. If you're a grandparent that's just looking for extra tools, or a parent that either your student is excelling in and is just not getting enough challenge, or they're behind in the subject and you're feeling at a loss, that there's a lot of tools that you don't have to be a homeschool family to be able to find a lot of benefit through the convention and some of the things that are being offered.
I am so glad you said that. That's true, because they're parenting topics. I mean, the challenges homeschool parents have are really the challenges of every parent.
Right. And we have a lot of topics on families and the importance of that and building strong families and relationships. So
awesome. I put it up there. You can sign up for convention updates at heav.org convention. There's a form on there where you just give your name and email address, and we'll send you all the convention news as it comes out. So you will hear first about the not speaker coordinators, the keynote speakers that are coming up. So thank you again. Thank you, everybody. And you all have a great day.